So if you have ever played Black Ops 2 Zombies, you would probably notice a map called Transit, and you would probably already know of that map even without the game because of how many people disliked it and how many in the community or how many people in the Zombies community were talking bad about it. So I'm sure you guys probably heard of the map from somewhere before. Now today I want to talk about two things that involves the map. Now the first thing is going to be a Route B, and if you guys obviously know or ever played Transit, you would realize you spawn in the spawn room, and outside of the spawn room a bus is spotted, like a bus that you could use across the map, or there's a robot that drives you across the map when you're in that bus. And yeah, so basically the Route A, there's two routes, Route A and Route B. And Route A is the normal route that you really can't change from because you can't change the route anyways. But that's Route A, the normal route that you would normally take, that because there's no other route that is accessible at that time. And then there's a Route B, which was discovered in the spawn room, because if you look at the board, the whiteboard, in the spawn room, it does talk about a Route B. It says the times for Route B and Route A. Now the times for Route A, there's no night service, it says, and the other times are 9:15, 11:30, 2 o'clock, 4:15, and 6:30. That's Route A, and Route B starts at 8 o'clock and it goes all the way up to 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 2 o'clock. So basically, that kind of gives us a hint on there being a Route B. Now, that kind of gives us a huge hint of there being a Route B. Now, there's different clocks throughout the map. I believe there's one in a dining room, or I think the town. And even though the clocks are in pretty much the same area, they have different times. Route B starts at 8 o'clock, right? As you guys could see uh, from the spawn room on the whiteboard, it said that starts at 8 o'clock. So 3 of the clocks have a time of 7:50. 2 of these are in the spawn room. And 10 minutes before that time, that's 10 minutes before Route B actually starts. So basically, would changing the time make it possible to use the second route? Like, how could we change the time exactly? Well, I remember hearing something about a ringing sort of bell, or maybe shooting the clocks. Also, on the billboard with the different times, there's a picture of two buses. Could this also mean there's two routes? There's also a poster somewhere in the map, maybe outside of the diner, that shows a bus, but the background is at night. Could this be a second bus? Also, you can notice that it shows the back of the bus, and the tail lights are red and look like rockets or lasers. Could this mean that the second bus travels much faster than the one rundown bus that were using during the day? Well, going back to that same thing with the clocks, there are two clocks to set with the set time of 5:10 in the room. One of these would be in the room opened by a turbine. And why are they set to this time? We have no idea. But one final thing. There's a sign that you can see from the bus as you go to the diner. That is supposed to be drive safely, exit 1/2 mile, which is what it says. But only a few lights are actually lit, spelling day X/2ME. So this phrase could mean a couple of things. The first phrase could mean day cross over to me, and the second phrase could mean day X/2 me. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. I mean, I believe that Route B could have existed if it doesn't exist, because all of that information adds up. But do you guys remember the map Buried on Black Ops 2? What if there was some way, because I know this might sound a little weird, but what if there was some way that you could use one of the time bombs from Buried to travel into the future, or 10 minutes into the future to a Route B? Now, I know obviously that there's no teleporting time bombs or teleporting bombs, I mean, time bombs in the map transit from really, really, really far after transit, there is time bombs in there. So what if there was a way or an Easter egg to get time bombs in transit, and then instead of going back in time, you can make them go forward in time? So I'm not really sure, but I mean, I think that there was a bus route or a bus route B. If there's not one, I think that one definitely did exist, because on some parts of a road there are going to be like a bunch of pieces of rubble that are just blocking other parts of the road, which could mean that route B could have been in one of those spots, and then the rubble completely destroyed the route. So I mean, it's kind of hard to say if route B does exist. But yeah, a lot of people hated transit because of all the things in it, such as those things that like jumped onto your face and clawed at your eyes to like sort of slow you down, and as well as the fog. Now, a lot of people don't understand why exactly they did this. Now, obviously, if they wanted transit to be the biggest zombies map that they've ever created, so they tried to, do that, and they weren't really, they weren't really thinking, I guess, about like if it was gonna run on the consoles. And since it was the biggest, one of the attempt of the biggest zombie map they have ever created, it was a huge fail to in a lot of people's opinion, because of all the fog and all the things that jumped on your face and tried to scratch your eyes out. But a lot of people, like I said, don't realize why they did this, and they did this to slow you down, because on the map was so big that the consoles couldn't handle it, and that the world or the map wouldn't fully render or wouldn't fully load in at most parts. So they added the fog. That way you won't be able to see when the map is not rendering. And they added those things that jump on your face and scratch your eyes out. That way it'll slow you down. And that's the exact same reason why they added the lava and stuff. So I obviously do not think that transit was supposed to be that bad. It was actually supposed to be very, very good. There wasn't supposed to be the lava, the fog, or any of that. But the consoles couldn't really handle it, and it wasn't rendering in. So they had to, add the fog and all that stuff, the lava, and those things that jumped on your face, the little baby monkeys or whatever they're called, that jumped on your face and try to scratch your eyes out to slow you down. But I mean, can you really blame them for doing that? I mean, because if they would have left it as it was, a lot of people would have complained either way. So I mean, it was not really a win-win situation. So I mean, I guess what they did was pretty smart. But but yeah.